Okay, here we are. So, this lesson, we are going to talk about margin and padding. And what is margin and padding? Okay, so let me go here to my notes and we'll start this baby up. So, margin slash padding. Okay, so first let's talk about margin. Margin is what we can use to push objects away. So push margin is the margin property, if I can get this right. Let's say it pushes objects away. Okay. So the way I like to think about it is margin is how we can move objects around the box or around the container. If we want to move those things, we can use margin. So in reference to a particular box, we can move an object from the top, bottom, left, or right. Okay. Padding allows us to give cushion on the inside. So we could say it gives a cushion on inside of box. So margin again moves objects away from the box in reference to a box. Okay, and padding is what will create a cushion on the inside of the box. All right, so let's do a demonstration of it. Let's see how it works. But before we get there, let's look at the values. So with margin or padding, either which one, here's how we can create our values. So I'm going to say margin slash padding. I'm going to do that. Okay, so that's the property. So we can provide 4 values. So if I provide 4 values, it's going to be top, right, bottom, and left. Okay, that's how the values work. And generally we do pixels with this. Okay, so now you can do some other things with it, but let's just stick with pixels. Let's make it easy for ourselves. Then we want to get complex, go to another level, then we can do some other things. Okay, but top, right, bottom, left. If I provide 4 values, then that's how it'll be read. For example, I could say 10 pixels, 20 pixels, 15 pixels, and I don't know, 19 pixels, which I hope you never see. The 19, something like that. In which case, there's no commas in between them, just a space. This is read top, right, bottom, and left. Okay. Let's say we do 3 values. If I do 3 values, then that is going to be it's going to be top, left, or I can say top, right, left, and bottom, like so. So again, the same example we have here. So I do 10 pixels, let's say 20 pixels, and then I'll say 15 pixels. Let me change that and make that pixels so it won't be confused. So this would be 10 pixels on the top, 20 pixels on the left and right, and then 15 pixels at the bottom. That's how that would be read. So 3 values. The first value is the top, the second value is left and right, and the third value is bottom. Okay. If I provide 2 values, that's going to be top, bottom, and then let me stick with right, left. So an example would be 30 pixels, and let's just use 0. And 0 just can be 0. I don't have to say 0 pixels. But this would mean 30 pixels at the top and bottom, 0 pixels left and right. Okay. And then the last one, if I provide just 1 value, that's going to be top, right, bottom, left. So in other words, if I say 50 pixels, that's going to be 50 pixels all the way around. Okay. And this is applied for both margin and padding. Okay. Another thing that we could do, and before we get to an example, is we can specify which side that we want to apply margin or padding on. For example, I could say margin top, or padding top. I could do the same thing margin right, padding right, margin bottom, padding bottom. And the reason I'm putting the slash is because it applies to both of those properties. And we got margin left, padding left. So I can, if I want to just apply margin or padding to one particular side, then I can do it like so we have here. Okay. So let's do a little practice with this. Okay. Roll up the sleeves. All right, so let's go back to this section. Okay, I'm going to change the width of this section. I'm going to, let's say, give it a width of, I'm going to just say 50%. Yeah, if I get that thing out of the way, 50%. So let's make it half of the viewport. Okay, cool. All right, so let's look and see what margin and padding does. I'm going to give a specific height. You know what? Yeah, let's do this. I'm going to make the width. I'm going to make the width 600 pixels, and I'm going to make the height 600 pixels. I'm just going to make a perfect box with these sections. Okay, so it has a width and height of 600 pixels. Okay, so let's apply margin first. Let's say I want to give, I'm going to first off with just say margin, and I'm going to say 40 pixels. Okay, when I say margin 40 pixels, it is going to create a margin of 40 pixels on the left, right, top, and bottom. So what you can see here, it actually moved our section over to the right by 40 pixels. Likewise, that section, it moved the other sections down by 40 pixels. Oh, look at that. That is hideous. Anyways, oh, that's why I still got main at 1200 pixels from the last lesson. Let me get rid of that. There we go. All right. So back to margin. What it did is it moved the section 40 pixels away from the right, or away from the border of the body, okay, or the edge of the body. It moved it 40 pixels, and likewise, it moved the content 40 pixels from the content above it, okay. So that's how that works. If I did one, again, if I did two numbers, that'd be top right, and then, well, top, bottom, left, and right. Excuse me. So I'm gonna say 40 pixels on the top and bottom, and we're really not gonna be, well, we can see it 80 pixels on the left and right. So you see that what they did is they moved the content over to the right by 80 pixels. However, the top and the bottom is 40 pixels. Again, take your time, pause it, work with it, okay? See if it's getting to look like mine. If not, check your code, see what's going on. If I did, let's skip 3 values. I'm going to go to 4 values. I'm going to say 20 pixels. Not going to be able to, well, we can see that from the bottom. And then I'll say 100 pixels. Will we be able to see that? I don't think we'll be able to see that. There's nothing really to the left of it. But so that moved it like so, okay. So this is how margin works, and we can see what it does is it moves content away from it, okay. Again, if I could play with that more, say the bottom. Let's say I want to make the bottom 100 pixels, or 100. Yeah, if I say 100 pixels, you see how this box below that second section moved down away from the first section by 80 pixels. So that leads to a question with padding, well, with margin in particular. Let's say I have a box that's sitting on top, and I give it a margin bottom of 20 pixels, and then I have a box underneath it, I give it a margin top of 40 pixels. Well, which one is it going to take? Well, it's going to take that 40 pixels. It's going to take the greater of the two. Okay, so be mindful of that. If something is not working the way you want it to, don't just throw code out there. Look and see what you're doing. Okay, so because right here I have a margin top of 40 pixels, but then I have a margin bottom of 100 pixels. So which one is it going to take? It's going to take the 100 pixels. It's going to take the greater value, and that one is going to be applied. Okay, so that's how margin works. Practice moving stuff around. Also, let me not fail to mention that you can do negative pixels. So if I make this, say, negative 100 pixels to the left, and we see now our content has slid over into, well, outside of the body. So you can do a negative pixelation if you want to. That is also possible. Let me fix that because I don't like that. But yeah, no, that takes positive, negative values. Okay. And now let's go into padding. So let's look at this at our headers and our text. Notice how the text and the header is right on the edge of the border. You can see that, right? Well, again, what padding does, it creates a cushion on the inside of a container. So let's say I want to give it a padding of, let's make this real visible, 25 pixels. Now we can see that our content has got pushed inside of the box by 25 pixels. So it pushed on the inside 25 pixels on the left and the right, and on the top and bottom it was pushed by 25 pixels. This is a really nice, elegant way of formatting your text inside of containers to get it off of the edge, so that it makes it a lot more readable. Okay, because you can see how this is more readable than when I had the text in the header sitting right on the edge of the border. Okay, so you can do the same thing with padding. See what it does. You can apply padding and margin to your content to block level elements. Here's something I want to show you before we end this lesson. So let's say we want to center something. We want to move something to the center. What I can do is I can apply this property. So here for margin, I'm going to say margin. I'm going to apply a pixel, let's say 40 pixels. That's going to be in the top and bottom. On the left and right, I'm going to set it to auto. And when I do that, it is going to center my container. And notice it doesn't matter how large or how small my viewport is. That box, that section is going to stay in the center of the of the viewport, and that's how I can do that. I can also, yeah, let's just stick with that. Let me not confuse you. Okay, but practice with this. Try centering containers. Make some more boxes if you want to, and center them, or make more sections and center them if you want to. Adjust the padding. Put borders around things and adjust the padding and see what it does. All right, and then the next lesson, I got one more property I want to show you before we get to that nav bar. All right, and I will see you there. Like the video, subscribe, share, tell everybody how great I am at teaching coding from the man room. Okay, so that get more people to watch this, not so they can just sit there and watch me, but honestly, truly, that doesn't mean anything to me. What's important to me is that more people are learning how to code. That's what's important to me, not just, oh, I got 1,000 people watching me. Like, that's not even a big number in YouTube or anything. That's not important at all. What's important to me is that people are watching this, learning how to code. Practice, practice, practice. It makes better. All right. See you in the next video. Peace, power, blessings.